I wish him well. I really do. Like I said, my feelings haven't changed. I wish him well. You know, that's from a personal standpoint. He's a good friend of mine. We still haven't talked, but that doesn't change things. I wish him well. I wish him the best in his career, but I'm worried about the guys in our locker room. I'm proud of these guys, how they were able to focus up despite all the that was going on this week, and how they were able to do their job. So that's why I appreciate this group of guys and the staff that we have. So we're going to see if we can build on it and continue to get better.
All right. It is official. As of 4 p.m. Eastern, Odell Beckham Jr. went unclaimed on waivers and is a free agent.
Yeah.
Free Odell. Odell is free. Got $4 million from the Browns, and he gets to pick his next team. Something he hasn't been able to do. Got drafted by the Giants. Got traded to the Browns. So for the first time at, just turned 29, Odell Beckham is a free agent. The Browns, at least one game in to life post Odell, looked really good against the Bengals. We'll see where Odell Beckham lands. I know you got thoughts on where he should end up, and we'll see how he does. And I got thoughts on that as well. So he's free. Doesn't have a team yet.
Yeah,
you look like your wheels are turning. What you thinking there?
Yeah,
what's going on in there?
Can we talk about this for a second? Baker Mayfield says, I wish him well.
Mm-hmm.
Said he's a good friend of mine, so I wish him well. He's a good friend of mine. I still ain't heard from him. Yeah. And we did a good job despite the BS that went on last week. Well, can we just deconstruct that? The BS that went on last week.
Yeah.
Well, the BS that went on last week was connected to Odell Beckham Jr.
Sure.
The BS that went on last week was not just Odell Beckham Jr., it was Odell Beckham Sr.
Right.
Talking about you. I'm talking about you, Baker.
There are people that I consider
you ain't heard
friends.
From him.
There are people that I consider friends that I don't talk to for one reason or another.
No, that's fine. Me too. Okay, but if I consider you a friend, and I know we disagree on this, I just can't get past this. If I consider you a friend, and you make my workplace messy,
right?
Your family makes my workplace messy. I think I need to hear from you. And if I don't hear from you, see, first of all, I don't believe Baker. That's what I'm trying to get at. I don't believe he's one of your good friends. I think he was. He was a good friend of yours. I don't think you wish him well. I think you hope that he winds up in a situation where you can see, where everybody else can see what you see, and that is that he is not this iconic, transcendent, number one wide receiver that everybody talks about him like. He's not that guy, and maybe he hasn't been that guy in a couple of years. So,
well, okay, hold on. Before we go too far down that particular path or rabbit hole or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe Baker was being disingenuous and just saying the right things. Okay, I do think that all those things can exist. I think you could be annoyed.
Check your dad.
I think you could be annoyed. I think you could be annoyed and relieved that the stress reportedly has been removed from the situation. I think he could consider Odell a friend personally. I think he can wish him well personally and professionally, while realizing that we don't work well together. And I'm better off with him gone. I'm worried about the guys here, and I wish him the best wherever he goes because I'm worried about the guys here. Like, I don't have the capability of wishing him anything but the best because I'm not worried about what happens with him moving forward. All I'm worried about is the here and now and the guys that are here with me, and so far so good, says Baker Mayfield. Again, says Michael Smith, I can speak from experience. I've had a lot of friends put me in bad positions. Doesn't mean we're not friends anymore. Just means that, hey, we can't coexist in this space at the same time. Our friendship is better from a distance. I got family members that we're better from a distance. Okay? And maybe it's because of me, maybe it's because of them, whatever it is. So I actually take Baker at his word in this instance. But your point about him secretly rooting for for Odell to show that he ain't all that at his next stop is an interesting one. Because I was going to ask you that. But you've already answered it. You preemptively answered the question. Are we sure that Odell is worth all the fuss? And I'm asking myself that. Because, we heard Charles Robinson yesterday talk about a lot of it is Odell freelancing in Cleveland.
Very insightful. Great job by Charles, by the way. Great insight.
As always. And Odell, many have said that Odell just ain't been that guy for a long time, injuries or not. I guess for me it just comes down to I don't want to believe it. So it's like, well, why don't I want to believe it? Why do I still hold Odell? Why do I still hold Odell Beckham in such high regard? Is he a name more than he is game right now? And I guess for me, I'll just be honest with you. I think there might be some New Orleans to it. Like, I don't know the dude. I never met him. I got no ties to him. I don't know anybody in his camp, none of that kind of stuff. Maybe it's a New Orleans bias for me. But I refuse. I just don't want to believe that this dude's washed. That somehow, and I guess maybe because I'm rooting for a comeback. I'm also rooting for a comeback story. There's that. Sometimes we get so dug in on what we want to see until we don't see it. We try to find all kinds of excuses why we haven't seen it. Remember when he was coming back off the ACL, I was like, yo, this dude's about to ball out. Especially some of the stuff that he was saying at the time, which you want to talk about disingenuous.
Yeah, he was great.
If reportedly he was actually asking to be traded the whole time, he certainly played the part when he came back off the ACL. I think it was after week 2 or something like that. So I'll admit that there is some, I wouldn't say fanboy, but it's like I want him to succeed. I want him to ball out wherever he goes. And the real reason for me, Michael, and I'm talking to you when I say this, I'm talking to you when I say this in particular, because you've intimated this or you flat out said it in our most recent conversation about Odell Beckham. You just have not used this word. You haven't used this one word, but I'm going to encapsulate everything you said with one word. You have not called him a diva, but you have basically suggested that he's a diva, that he's not a winning player, that he's a headache, that he's not worth the trouble. And I don't want to see the dude. Okay. I don't want to see him go somewhere and fail. And that reputation, that presumption about him be taken as gospel. Because you know what, Michael, even in New York, when he was kicking nets in New York, when he was assaulting field goal nets in New York, and all those antics, when he and his teammates went to, was it Miami? Before the playoff game, was it Miami? I always defended Odell Beckham because I always thought that his antics, so to speak, quote unquote, were coming from a place of passion, not a place of,
recklessness,
personality flaw, not a personality flaw. Yeah, I thought it was coming from the right place. And so another reason why I want him to win is I don't want, take this the right way, I don't want people like you to win. I don't want you to be right. I don't want to be wrong about Odell Beckham, and I don't want you to be right about Odell Beckham. And see, I told you so. He just ain't, he's nothing but a head case wide receiver. He's nothing but a diva. He's nothing but a petulant child.
I appreciate it.
I want him to go somewhere like Baltimore.
I don't want you to win.
Well, yeah, Baltimore. I want him to go someplace like Baltimore and prove that he can be part of a winning organization.
Hey, I love that answer from you. It's like you said to Doc Johnson the other day, you had your tape saved in the drafts. He's got his Matthew Stafford takes, Doc Johnson does.
That tweet,
and he's just waiting for something
ready to send it.
Yeah.
As soon as he throws a pick six,
and
bam.
so you already got a feed. Ready.
Hold on, real quick. Hold on. You got one in your feed. I peeked at your feed talking about, and we may not even get to it today, so I won't get you off track. But in your feed, it's like, the Nets are missing something. I can't put my finger on it. You wait till a 5-game winning streak ends to put them in your feed. You ain't had nothing to say when they was winning. So don't act like, don't sit in that glass house throwing bricks.
We're busy. Some of those games.
Aaron Rodgers.
Mike, some of those games over the weekend.
Yeah, I got you. Totally.
So much happening over the weekend. But, that's funny. I'm glad you said that, hey, you don't want me to win. Look, I just want to point out that diva, I'm not anti-diva. I think sometimes you got to have, I'm pro-diva, as a matter of fact. Diva and winning player, those could be, they could be the same. or a guy could be a diva and, maybe not about winning, or a diva who's all about winning. I'll give you an example. Another sport, and I'll get back to Odell Beckham Jr. in a second. Another sport. So fortunately, I had an opportunity to work with David Ortiz on a book. Right? And I tell people this, like David Ortiz, it was just crazy. I remember first time he said, come to my house. Come to my house, 10 o'clock in the morning. I said, you want me to come to your house at 10 o'clock in the morning? Yeah. Go to his house, ring the buzzer, little gate there, ring the buzzer. His wife obviously sees me. Michael? Yeah. Are you here to see David? Yeah. He's asleep. But come on in. So come on in. Dude, I go in. It's 10 o'clock. He wakes, so he's got to get dressed. You guys seen him on TV. Look good, right? He got to get dressed.
Yeah.
It takes about an hour. It takes about an hour to get dressed. Now he's got to have breakfast, not offering me any. He's got to have breakfast, sits down. That takes about 30 to 45 minutes, and he wants to just kind of throw his opinions out on everything, not for the record, just throwing opinions out on the world. And then 2 hours later, he's sitting down okay, all right, let's go. What you want to talk about? And I was thinking, what goes through his head? I'll tell you what goes through his head. This is what makes David Ortiz David Ortiz. It's just oh, I am the center of this. Don't you understand? This is what I do. And this is why I can get up in front of 50,000 people in Yankee Stadium or anywhere, any ballpark across the country and do my thing as if I'm just in my backyard. So there's a diva quality I think a lot of stars have, and that's all right. It's healthy. For Odell Beckham Jr., I think he is not a diva. I think he may be a little delusional about his importance in this game right now. And this is not just him. I think it's a lot of receivers. We talk about running backs in this game and the changing role of the running back. I think there's a changing role of the wide receiver and the changing role of the cornerback too. In a passing league, if we keep saying it's a passing league, you know what you're going to have a lot of? Receivers. You have a lot of receivers.
Sure.
A bunch of them. And you're going to have a lot of corners who don't look very good because it's just the market is saturated with talented receivers. And so, and the rules are really geared toward receivers. So Odell Beckham Jr. in this new normal that is the NFL, I think he's good. I think he's a good player. But I don't think he's going to change anybody's season by signing with the Saints, because that's where I think he's going. Signing with the Saints or the Seahawks.
No, not yet.
I don't think he's about to turn around. I don't think he's the guy who's going to turn around somebody's season. I really don't.
Well, I don't think he has
he's
to.
a good player.
I don't. To your point, I don't know that he has to, especially if he goes somewhere like Seattle. See, I can see him going to Seattle and then him and Russ deciding what they're going to do after the season. But if he goes to Seattle, they already got Metcalf and Lockett. You know what I mean? So he doesn't have to. He kind of puts him over the top, potentially, with Russ coming back in the same way that Antonio Brown just kind of made the Bucs offense that much more explosive. But okay, that's I guess that's what I want to see. Honestly, that's what I want to see. And I don't mean to equate him with Antonio Brown because Antonio Brown's issues were different. I keep going back to Randy Moss, Michael, and how all the things that Randy Moss was in Minnesota. History has been relatively kind to Randy Moss, retroactively speaking. It's almost dare I say revisionist. No, I'm not saying he is Randy Moss, but dare I say revisionist. When Randy Moss is in Minnesota, people forget now because he's on TV, and what a brilliant player he was, and since the Patriots, no less, people forget when he was a headache for the Vikings. So when he was straight cash, homie, ain't shipping 10 grand. You know what I mean? When he was spraying water bottles, when he was mooning the Lambeau crowd, all the reasons why they traded him to Oakland at the time, and in Oakland he fell off the face of the earth. People thought he was done. Next thing you know, he in New England. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so I guess I just want to see. I want to see that kind of rebirth and resurgence. I'm not saying Odell is Randy Moss. I know. I've never been able to get over whether or not washed Eli Manning at the end of his career for the most part in New York. Okay? Or for that matter, the coaches and play callers that they had in New York. And then Cleveland and Baker Mayfield The jury's still out on Baker Mayfield. Let's not act like Baker is like a known commodity at this point.
Well,
I just don't know I just don't know how much he's been held back. I just don't know how much Odell has been held back. Now look, maybe it was the opposite. Maybe he was only good because he was in New York with Eli Manning and that one-handed catch on Sunday Night Football. He's been living off that hype forever. I don't know. Maybe. I think that Odell Beckham, at his height, was one of the most gifted, physically talented, and gifted performers to ever touch a football field in recent memory.
Ooh, wow.
Just from a pure physical gift standpoint, athleticism standpoint. In recent memory, he is one of the most gifted people I've ever seen. I'm just about gifts.
I like what you're doing.
The brother got, you know a brother got gifts. You know what I'm saying? Like he got gifts. Okay, he got gifts. Oh, you know a brother got gifts. I read your book though. Your book was like that. You know, like brother, you're still in school. Hey, but I wasn't. Anyway. Little Spivey, little Quentin Spivey action for you there. But point is,
all right, look,
I don't want to believe that guy is gone. That's all. And I'll stop there. I'll leave it there. I think it's Baltimore. I'll settle for Seattle. I think New Orleans is next year when they got a better quarterback situation.
Orleans.
I just don't want to think that the guy is done. So last word is all yours, brother.
All right, look, Mike. I think this is where we disagree. This is very, very easy to see where we just part. To do the Randy Moss, where we part company. And we part this way. I love that. I love that celebration. And you remember his explanation for why I did it? Because I can still split the defense. I just want to remind you. All right. Randy Moss, I think you should go back and look. Yeah, it's a little revisionist history with Randy Moss, but it was never really bad. Even when Randy Moss was bad, he was good. All right, so what Randy Moss...
I'm not talking about the play. I'm talking about the headache. Remember I play when I want to play? Remember that?
Well, that's what I was going to say. I was going to say, Randy Moss, see the great players, and this is where we disagree. Simply, you said, hey, maybe you want to see if the quarterback is holding them back. If you're great... You're so great the quarterback can't even hold you back. Like Randy Moss's quarterbacks over the years, he's had some great ones, and he had some that were okay. But it's Randy Moss. And
quarterbacks can hold you back, dog. Quarterbacks can hold you back.
But maybe they held him back from instead of getting 17 touchdowns or 23 touchdown Randy Moss, record-setting Randy Moss with Tom Brady. They can hold him back to 14 or 13, but he still had double-digit touchdowns. Randy Moss held himself back, and he told you, thank you, Randy, for the courtesy of saying, hey, why are you playing like this? Maybe I don't feel like it.
Are you forgetting how dysfunctional Oakland was when he went through there? And the Vikings had their own issues.
He told
he said it.
He told you.
But you're getting caught up in the Randy Moss. I'm saying when he went to New England,
I'm not getting caught up in it.
I just don't want Odell to be
greatness.
I want him to be not done. That's all. Just not done. Sorry, I didn't mean to confuse it with Randy Moss.
Okay, I know, but it's not about Randy Moss. It's about greatness in general. It's about greatness and a step down. So Odell Beckham Jr. was on the path to greatness, and for whatever reason, injuries, bad situation, I don't know, he went on another track. And so now he's on another track of being he's not done, he's a good NFL wide receiver. But not somebody you should be sitting there going, oh, man, I can't wait. Refresh. Is he going to sign? Oh, well, where's he going to sign? Oh, man. Then you find out what team he signed with. Oh, they're about to do something. No. He's a good player who was not traded at the deadline.
Yeah.
Who's going to sign with somebody. So Randy Moss, greatness, and not just Randy. Antonio Brown, same thing. Those players are so great that the only thing that's really holding them back is themselves.
Odell is not a difference maker, says Michael Holley. You're just saying he's not a difference maker.
Who said that? No,
says
he's
Michael
not.
Holley. You're saying he's not a difference maker.
Yes. He's not a difference maker. He's a good player. He'll be a good player.
I just don't, all right, I can't say you're wrong. I don't know that we know that. I don't know that we know that he was a difference maker. I don't know that we know for sure that he can't be that again.
Which do you want to see more? Do you want to see Odell Beckham Jr. revive his career, or do you just want to come back at your boy and talk that stuff?
They're not mutually exclusive.
But which one do you want to see more?
Honestly, I want the kid. I want the kid to bounce back. I want the kid to bounce back because it's not just you. I just never liked how he was being discussed, and some of the things that was the narrative around him. I want everybody to be wrong about Odell.